Welcome to Retirement Decoded with your host, Scott Tucker, where we break down the complexities of retirement planning to give you clear, actionable advice. Whether you're just starting out or getting ready to retire, Scott's here to help you make informed decisions and secure your financial future. Tune in each week as we simplify the process and decode the path to a stress-free retirement. Now, here's your host, Scott Tucker.
Welcome back to the Retirement Decoded podcast with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. My podcast sidekick, as most of the time, is Associate Advisor Andre Hootie. Say hello, Andre Hootie.
Hello, Andre Hootie.
Andre Hootie, we have a question today from Awnee.
I kind of like that name.
What the heck?
Awnee?
Hey, if you get to have a weird life, have a weird name.
Yeah, there.
Andre, life's like a box of chocolates.
You never know what you're going to get next.
Yeah, you're not sure what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
You saw the Forrest Gump.
I did. Great movie. Might rewatch that.
Awnee says, Scott, can you take a traditional TSP or Thrift Savings Plan? Now, that is a plan for federal employees. If you're not a federal employee, you might not know that. So can you take a traditional? So I'm gonna say what she wrote, and then I'm gonna correct her ever so harshly. Can you take a traditional TSP IRA? Andre, is there such a thing as a TSP IRA?
No, I mean,
I know what she means,
yeah,
though, right? I'm just gonna scratch out where it says IRA.
Yeah,
Scratch. Okay, so Scott, can you take a traditional TSP and put it inside an IRA? I'm editing as I go here. I don't want to beat her up all day. Can you take a traditional TSP and put it in an IRA, then convert the funds to a Roth? I'm scratching out all kinds of extra words that she didn't mean to put in here. So, Andre, Awnee, theoretically, Awnee, I think, is inferring that she has a traditional TSP. Mm-hmm. It's a tax-deferred account like a traditional IRA or 401k. I guess the way that traditional TSP is the thing it's most similar to for other folks that are listening, is anybody listening to this? Traditional 401k. So a traditional TSP is very much similar to a traditional 401k in the private sector. And then she says, can I put that into a traditional IRA? Yes, you can, but typically you have to have left federal employment or you have to have attained age 59 and 1/2. And then can I convert the funds to a Roth? Yes, you can. A Roth conversion can be done at any age, at any income level, and in any amount. Okay. Scott, what happens to that money you convert? Oh, well, that's a good question. The money that you convert ends up in the Roth, and then it grows tax-free the rest of your life. It doesn't cause taxes in retirement, doesn't cause taxes on your Social Security. Awnee, if you pass away, I don't know if you have children or not, but if you pass away and leave it to the kids, they get it tax-free, and they get to grow it tax-free within an inherited Roth as well. Although, Andre, what's important here, there are taxes due on the Roth conversion.
Yeah.
And so the Roth conversion is going to be federally taxable by our friends at the Internal Revenue Service. How are we going to pay those taxes, Andre?
Well, that's where it kind of gets a little bit tricky because did Awnee say how old they are?
How much life experience Awnee has?
How much life experience, right?
Andre, you'll learn. You got to be careful with the ladies.
Do we know the life experience?
There you go. So what happens to the money you convert? Well, the money once converted grows tax-free in the Roth and so on. But yeah, so I don't know the level of life experience she has attained.
Yeah, so but it does come important here, right? Because there's kind of two ways that it's typically done. It's if you're past the age of 59 and a half, usually what happens is you'll do a Roth conversion, and then because the money in the traditional account isn't all yours, it trips people up that way to think about it that way sometimes. But let's say you have $1 million in the account, that whole million isn't yours. Some of that is Uncle Sam's. And so as you're doing those conversions, you can actually do a little bit of withholding and take it right out of that account.
So what Andre's saying, we can have the traditional IRA. Obviously, we Roth convert it. We can withhold a certain percentage for the IRS, and it'll never even touch Awnee hands. Mm-hmm. And then the whole rest of the money ends up in her Roth, and it grows tax-free the rest of her life and all the rest of the good stuff about tax-free. Now, if she's not 59 and a half when she does the conversion, then we don't want to withhold from the traditional IRA because it can cause a 10% penalty on the withholding.
Exactly.
So we'd pay it from another source.
Yeah.
We'd say, Awnee, how much money do you have? And then she'd pay it from that other source. Then Awnee, this is one of those multiple layers of questions, Andre.
Okay, they usually are.
Yeah, she says, can you buy stocks with the money even if you're retired. Well, okay, so I think now she's saying, I don't know what her level of life experience is in years here, Andre, but sounds like she's concerned. There's a couple of things in this question. Can you buy stocks with that money even if you're retired? I think what she's saying is, hey, I've been in this TSP and they tell me what I'm allowed to own in the thrift savings plan.
Yeah, and there's not that many options in those.
Yeah, just like a 401k, it's limited options.
Well, TSP is even less. There's usually like 5 to 6 options in there.
Yeah, and then they came out with the life cycle things, which are just fancy name for target date funds.
Right, which they're combinations of the other funds.
So, Awnee, let's say you rolled your traditional TSP to a traditional IRA, then you Roth converted it, now you have a Roth IRA. Can you buy stocks with the money in your Roth IRA if you're retired? Yes, you can. Andre, we don't tend to like specific stock risk.
No, you never know what can happen with a stock, with a company.
Yeah. There's folks that years ago, there were folks that worked at Wells Fargo and they're like, man, this company's doing great. And they're buying extra stock. And, they worked at Wells Fargo and then they might have even had Wells Fargo stock in their 401k. And then they might have had Wells Fargo stock in a employee stock purchase plan. And they might have had good stuff at work and they might have gone over to a non-qualified account and bought more Wells Fargo stock. Yeah. And then they found out that everybody that banked at Wells Fargo had 4 credit cards they didn't know about.
Exactly. Right. So
it can happen. Even if your company is 99% good people, it only takes like 1% goobers to screw it all up.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? It's so many people that work there had no idea any of this was going on.
There's a bunch of good people doing a bunch of good work, and there's one department with some goofy bonus thing for signing people up for fraudulent credit cards, and and then Wells pays another fine. And you can send the cease and desist to Andre Hootie. But that's been well documented, and the regulators already had their say so on that. Another one is our friends at Boeing. Now, Boeing used to be headquartered here in Chicago, and I should say we are in Chicago, but we are federally licensed investment advisor representatives, and we can help people all throughout the United States and the territories and all that good stuff. But Boeing used to be headquartered for about 10 years here in Chicago, and then Boeing moved to Arlington, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. They want to be closer to the FAA and the DOD, the Pentagon, and all that. But folks at Boeing, we had a number of Boeing executives, maybe about 100 of them, living here for about 10 years. And they had the Boeing building downtown, wherever that name of that building became or was or is now. And so a lot of people at Boeing thought everything was all chummy, and I know they build a lot of aircraft in Washington State, and I think the other one's in North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and then all these people at Boeing are doing the right thing, and it only takes a couple of people not doing the right thing. Next thing you know, the 737 Max is falling out of the sky, or the doors are blowing open. Hey, Andre, what do they say about Boeing?
So when one door closes,
another one opens.
Yeah.
Bump. And so all of a sudden, the Boeing stock goes down. And so you've got to be careful, Awnee, about putting specific stocks into your Roth IRA in this scenario. I think that you laid out for us here. Another one, Andre, there was in the news, however long ago, there was a thing at McDonald's. Now, McDonald's is a Chicago company. The headquarters used to be out in Oak Brook, Illinois. And a few years back, they moved back downtown to the West Loop area of the city of Chicago. And so the world headquarters of McDonald's is here in Chicago. And they recently had some sort of a scandal of sorts that people were dying from eating quarter pounders or getting very sick. Mm-hmm. Then they were trying to figure out, was it the beef? Was it the onions? Yeah. Hey, maybe it was the McDonald's.
I mean, I've seen videos of where that food doesn't go bad for 20, 30 years,
I'm 51 nowadays, and when I was a kid, it seemed that the food was more simple. Mm-hmm. There was actually a thing where they used to use, when I was a kid, they used to use beef tallow, which is like a beef fat. They would use 93% beef tallow. I just recently went through a documentary on YouTube on this. Uh-huh. I'm YouTube certified on this now. They would use, for their fries, they would use 93% beef tallow and then 7% vegetable oil. And now that's getting murky in my brain. Now I want to say it is corn oil, soybean oil, and vegetable oil. I believe it's a combo.
So all the best ones for your heart.
Actually, the beef tallow was better for you.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. My Andre, my cousin, he also lives here in Chicago. I have one cousin that lives in Chicago. And his wife is Indian, or she's born here, but Indian descent. She grew up in the Detroit suburbs. And her family, they're all vegetarians, and they met at Michigan State University, and in college, eating like a college kid, she's like, well, it's hard in East Lansing, Michigan, home of the Spartans. It's hard to go through college to do all your vegetarian meals just the way you want them all the time and that. And so in a pinch, she would just go to the McDonald's and get the French fries. And then years later, 3-4 years later, she figured out they were fried in beef tallow.
Oh, God.
So pro tip, if you're a vegetarian, don't get your vegetables from McDonald's.
I mean, that's usually where I go.
Yeah, get your vegetables. Yeah. Can I have a $12 salad, please? Whatever the heck it is. But probably salad's probably $12 anywhere now.
But getting back to Awnee here, though.
Oh yeah, were you talking about Awnee?
Yeah, it's kind of all this goes to say, it's you never know what can happen with a company. You never know what piece of bad news could come out overnight and the stock just drops 50%, 60%, 100%. It's happened in the past. There is guarantees that it will happen in the future. You just don't know when, where, or why. But there is this kind of movement in the stock market all the time, and stocks inherently are the ones that can move like this.
We also, there are other things you can hold in your Roth IRA too. There are stocks, but there are also bonds, and bonds involve risk as well. A lot of that has to do with interest rates or credit quality. And actually, Andre, this question just goes on and on and on, and it's all one giant blob of a paragraph. Sorry, Awnee. But it says, I have mainly exchange traded funds, ETFs, in my existing Roth. So ETFs, you potentially could be more broadly diversified on by having ETFs in your existing Roth. So that can be good. Your your exchange traded fund might be a combination of stocks and bonds, or just stocks or just bonds. I don't know. And she says, oh, Andre, here we go with the life experience. And she doesn't say why. I think we might know why. And she says, and I need to reduce my federal Traditional Thrift Savings Plan, TSP, before age 73. Why might she be saying that she needs to reduce it before age 73, Andre?
She's aware, I'm guessing it's probably when her required minimum distributions start. But that means she knows one other thing that most other people don't.
What's that?
It's that the income or the distributions you're forced to take, the required minimum distributions from your traditional accounts, they actually go and count against your Social Security. That money that you get distributed can cause taxes on up to 85, and yeah, that's right, 85% of your Social Security can be taxed at regular income levels just because of those distributions. You've spent your whole life saving this money. Now it's time to use it, and now you're being hit with a tax.
Yeah, so she says, I have mainly exchange-traded funds in my existing Roth, and I need to reduce my federal Traditional Thrift Savings Plan before age 73. Maybe you need to do that sooner than that. Yeah. Because if you're overlapping TSP with you or your spouses, if you're married, Awnee, you didn't say that here. If you're overlapping the Social Security, say you're retired and you're taking Social Security before age 73, and you still have traditional TSP, we probably missed a step somewhere. We should have done some tax planning, maybe some Roth conversions and some other nifty moves. And we can talk about that, Awnee. Get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. At tuckerretirement.com, you can see our phone calendar. Schedule yourself 15 minutes for free over the telephone, and we'll just walk you through that. You don't have to become a client or anything. Don't worry about that. Now, Andre, here it is. It's buried in this giant paragraph. I have mainly exchange-traded funds in my Roth. I need to reduce my federal traditional thrift savings plan before age 73. I have 3 years to go. She's 70 years of age, Andre, or thereabouts.
Yeah, just about. And if you're 70, probably time for Social Security. No reason to wait more.
Well, that's a good point, because a lot of folks ask us when they're 62 if they should file for Social Security. Most people shouldn't. And yet, if you are 70, it is last call. It doesn't get any better. Get that thing filed. Mm-hmm. Now, Andre, a lot of folks don't realize if you forget to file Social Security, they don't just send you money automatically. They just mum's the word. They don't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, if they can avoid it, they won't pay you. They're not going to call you.
It's part of how they keep the system going, isn't it? So here's a little story. This is not a political story, but just, well, I guess it was recently. Back when President Biden was running for president, he was on the radar politically then. on his federal tax return, he releases his return every year he runs. And I guess now he probably won't release them anymore. But if you look on line 6B of President Biden's federal 1040, you can Google this and bring this up on your computer screen there. President Biden's, and you'd probably be looking for President Joseph, what's his middle name? Joseph Robinette Biden.
You stop me.
Robinette. If you know President Biden's middle name, TuckerRetirement.com, we'll talk about it. I believe it's Joseph Robinette Biden, I think is the full name. And then you look for the 2023 Form 1040, the federal 1040. He releases them. They're on the interwebs. And you look on line 6B of his federal 1040, you'll see that he pays federal income tax on 85% of his Social Security. Both for him. I think Dr. Jill is also probably she's she's a little younger than him, I think, but she's likely filing for Social Security too, because he's, geez, is he 80?
Just under, ish. I think, yeah. Like 79. 80.
We're living, what did I say the other day? Well, this applies to different people, because I was saying how we used to help Korean War vets and that, and then now we're helping baby boomers, and then now we're helping Gen X people. And I said, Andre, older people are getting younger all the time. That's like that Yogi Berra he used to play. I think it was catcher for the Yankees. Yeah. So Awnee is 73. Oh, she's 70, and she wants to get all of her stuff converted over to Roth before she gets to be 73. Awnee, we could probably show you. We could get on a Zoom or something. Go to TuckerRetirement.com, get on our phone calendar, and if we need to, we'll get on a Zoom with you. We can show you, we project out your future income taxes and show you how it might benefit you to get after this sooner than later, not dilly-dally, as my old man would say, and wait, 3 more years to get this wrapped up. I don't want to get you in a mad rush either, but we could run your numbers, get your questions answered, your answers questioned. So, and then she says, "Thank you for any advice." Are you sure? Are you sure you want to thank us for this advice? What do you think, Andre? I
thought we gave some pretty good, tips and tricks to think about.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. And what's funny when folks, we were just telling a friend the other day, and we said, it's funny when people write their questions to the podcast is they write them in everyday normal person speak, and they don't realize all the steps they're kind of muddling together. Mm-hmm. And that's just normal.
No, I mean, if you don't do this, how could you know?
Like when I'm not a CPA, I'm a financial planner. And when I meet with my CPA, it's like we need a translator, which is funny. You wouldn't think I don't think a lot of people would realize. I think financial planners know this and CPAs know this. We look at the world 2 different ways.
Yeah, it's kind of wild because I have that same experience with my CPA.
Yeah,
same thing. We speak the same language but 2 different languages somehow. At
2 different dialects.
Yeah, dialects.
CPAs and enrolled agents are oftentimes looking back, or they're looking at the current tax year. Financial planners, they think we're nuts. Financial planners, we're looking out 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and then what happens to the kids and the grandkids and the way out in the future. So this has been Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. That's Andre Hootie, and we will see you on the next episode. This is Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker.
Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. has a strategic partnership with tax professionals and attorneys who can provide tax and or legal advice. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. A Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The views and opinions herein are those of Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AEWM and Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc.